And I'll open the radio back up. Here's the dial cord. So this is fully counterclockwise stopped. See the dial pointers going up, up, up. And it's going to reach a point where it can't go anymore, and it wasn't what I thought it was. You can see right here it's running out of dial cord. I think I had to loop this around twice and then come back to this spring. But looking at this, it's hard to see, but I think this has to go around once and then again and up. But I didn't get twice wrap around here, because then it would have more dial cord to spool off of this, so the pointer could go up to the top. At least that's what it seems like to me. And yeah, see, it's hard to see the little fishing rod, fishing line, but the let's see if this is, these indicators right in between. I think you can see that. There's one on the front and there's one on the back. So I thought these had gotten crossed up. And so I'm basically gonna have to redo the stringing on this, but at least it's, it's not that bad. Everything is right here. And there was one other thing that I saw. So when I powered the radio off of the AC adapter, converts 110 to 9 volts. This is the input for the adapter that plugs into here. I left that in the other room, but there's a pretty loud hum. So I tried a different AC power block or adapter and got the hum, but the second one I tried is already in a radio and it doesn't hum, so I don't think it's a problem with that power adapter, power block. So then I did notice I think these are filter capacitors. But I did notice once I pushed on this one, there's a solder connection on the back of this board. I guess that's broken. So this capacitor, I guess, isn't even fully in the circuit, but I guess I need to check these to see if those are what the problem is with the hum. So I'm trying to take this out, and it looks like I may have to unsolder all of these connections here. I think I can leave this on, but these three, these two, and maybe this, because I need to pull this out to get to the back side. So it's a little more of a hassle, but I think in the long run, try to replace this or solder this back in either one. Whew. Well, finally I got to check the capacitor, and you can see I had just replaced one of the red ones, but this was a pain in the butt to work on. First I initially started unscrewing this, but you don't have to unscrew that, but there's a nut and washer on here, some kind of block, I guess maybe for grounding or something, but that came off when I loosened that, so I had to find that inside of here, and it was a little pain to get that on, but I got that on, and this board is held in just by these metal tangs. I guess I just had to bend them back with some pliers to open it up, and then it's the same down here, but then there's, I guess, this metal piece of wire that's soldered to here, and all of these are just soldered together. I think these are just going to ground. But I'd unsolder this, and this wire was going to there. I'd unsolder that, and solder that red wire right here, and then solder these two wires here. And then there's this red and black one coming up from underneath the board, so I couldn't take the board all the way out, so it was just hanging like halfway, and I had to get from the side to try to unsolder the back of the board for this capacitor. And I think when I got it off, this tested good, but since I took all that time to do it, and then this is going to be a pain in the neck I tested that in the circuit with the tester, and that seemed to be good, so I'm not going to mess with that anymore. But the hum is definitely quieter. There's still a hum, but there's still a hum on my other radio too, but it's definitely not as loud as it used to be. So this is the capacitor that came out. I think it's an Elko brand. Is 1000 microfarad electrolytic. So I had ordered some, I guess, luckily for a pack of axial capacitors, and I guess they had a 1000 microfarad one, so that's the same type that I used to replace the one that's in there now. And let's see if I can zoom out. Here's my capacitor meter. Turn that on if you can see that. I don't think there's any charge on here. Let's discharge that. The plus, and then here's the negative, and let's see what this is reading. It was, reading 1138, which I guess it should be 1000, so it is high. I don't know if that was going to be enough to have a huge effect. I think the biggest problem was that one end of the electrolytic was not soldered in the back, so it was basically out of circuit. This is an ESR meter. It kind of measures, I forgot what that stands for, it kind of measures the resistance value in a capacitor, electrolytic capacitor. So let me, these leads are short, but zero this out, and let's see, I guess it'll tell you if it's good or bad, or let's see, negative. Let's see what it's reading here. You can't see that. So it says this is an ohm value reference, so it's a good cap with low ESR. So the capacitor, I guess what it's at least 60 years old, or no, I'm sorry, this was made in 65. Yeah, still testing good if the test equipment is right, but ended up replacing that anyway. So I'm assuming if this was good, this is good. And I did test this one just on the ends here, and it tested similarly to this. So but yeah, I'm definitely not messing around with that again unless I have to. And I guess really there's no hum with the batteries on DC, so it was only affecting AC. But since I had ordered this the power pack here, it's kind of neat to power it off of AC because the backlight is on all the time. But so this is the connector that attaches into here. There it is. So this just snaps in like this, and then this fits in this gap up here. So this is, I think I'd mentioned, the first ocean buoy that you could actually have the AC adapter in, as well as running off of batteries. I got that done. So the next task is to redo the dial cord. All right, so I have my braided fishing line, 65-pound test, 0.41 millimeter diameter. I'm trying to restring the FM tuner. So we want to put this all the way clockwise. It'll put the pointer down here at the bottom, so it'll stop. Now I want to, just tie one end of the cord to, this is an end that hooks inside of the hole here, so I just want to tie this onto this side, and I'll stick it on here and then start routing it around. I just have some simple knot there on the end. Be nice if this was actually closed off so this wouldn't come off, but it'll work. And then I'm just going to hook it into here and then start routing it. End hooked, so I'm going to start routing it, and it looks like based on this routing diagram it just comes off. There's no wrapping around this way, and just start going up. I'm gonna try not to take off this white thing, but there's not a whole lot of room here, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it around here 3 times and head over here. But yeah, there's just not a whole lot of room to work, but it's just a little bit of work to take this off and then restring those white fishing line holders. All right, I'm starting to route, and then I use some tape to hold it up here. It's coming down. And try to keep it and then hold it, and then I have to start looping it under here, then back over. So I got everything routed, so I just need to tie the other spring on the end. And I guess I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So maybe I'm going to tie it maybe somewhere down here so I have room to pull the spring to tension it to get into the hole. So that's the plan. Right, I got it restrung, and I basically just used this kind of tool, hooked it on the end of the spring and pulled it and got it into the hole there. So now I just need to line up or attach the indicator and then position that so it's where it's supposed to be. Alright, welcome back to the channel. Here's the Grundig Ocean Buoy 205. You can see the FM needle is a little higher than it used to be, and it's running off of AC. You can hear maybe a little hum there. It's definitely not as loud as it used to be. Let's see, it's
message from a Bible teacher, Martin.
I can say I definitely learned some new stuff, and because that dial cord has to lay a certain way so it doesn't cross over and interfere with it coming off the spool. So I had to like redo it 3 times.
Y estar preparados para la próxima tormenta.
How they are experiencing
All right, so it's working, and
Apparently.
AM.
Here's the thing. Y ahora con su nuevo acelerador, ayuda, Héctor.
I was picking up a station on shortwave with just the whip. Right, this is almost between 9 and 10 megahertz, but we're on the whip. So anyway, as you can see, the got the dial cord finally working properly, and then all the push buttons seem to be working, so hopefully I don't have to be pulling it out of the chassis out of the case any time soon. Be able to listen to some shortwave stations, FM, AM. All right, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, and aloha.